Dear wanderer, welcome. Fall unquestionably on us, at least here in Ireland. Autumn makes it a busy period of time for us, bonsai practitioners. One of the seasons when so much can be done to our trees to improve them and make sure that we are taking advantages of this wonderful period of the year. I work specifically on my deciduous trees during this time, as they can be pruned, wired and styled. This beech forest was put together exactly a year ago. We worked on it this summer and it's now time to do our second pruning. While I will defoliate the forest, I will tell you more about what is going on to our deciduous trees during this time. Once the leaf cross the peak of their color change, the removal of the leaf is no longer impacting the health of the tree, because the tree has already reabsorbed a lot of pigmentation. The color change itself means you are good to go with cutting them back as well. The best time you can do it's right now, as most trees would bleed if you prune them back in spring. We don't want to lose all the stored carbs and starches and potentially weakening the tree. When your broadleaf deciduous trees taken in the resources that create chlorophyll, the green color in the leaf matter, when that reabsorption of these resources, which causing the color change from green to yellow to red to orange, that is, you're observing the magnesium, the iron and all the different components. Now we can start to prune, as we can see the structure of the branches. I cut everything shooting inwards to the forest. It's also optional to use cut paste. Adam from Notion Bonsai sent me these for test, and I'm using it ever since. If you would like to purchase some for yourself, here's the link where you can find his shop. Deciduous trees' grow habits are different than alpine trees, as the snow load do not affect the branching on that scale as a pine tree would. So in this case, I will add an up, down and up movement to the branches, as we see it in nature. I will work on every tree separately, but as a whole in the same time, and give the trees some movement. Usually I do not cut back the two buds at the beginning, as I never know how much of the length of the branch I will need for the final design. We can always correct that later. If you watch my hands, when I bend the branch, I always maneuver it with the wire. This way we can minimize the chance to break or snap. These two branches are way too straight, but still bendable with the proper gauge wire. We'll use 5mm aluminium wire for this. As now it's styled for the first time, let me show you a quick recap on this forest from the beginning. As now we finished working on the forest, it will take rest in the greenhouse till next spring. Before we start to work on the next tree, let me take you back to this spring when I usually dig up few trees. I put them into the ground so the trees can thicken up way quicker. If you collect trees from the mountains, that metal is called yamadori, which means mountain tree. In this country, the term has taken on a slightly different meaning, which is the tree that has been collected from the wild. I do not collect from the wild as it will take a lot of paperwork and permissions. But I cannot refuse temptation when some of them are on sale, especially trees with this quality. This tree is coming from my home country, Hungary, and it's known as Oriental Hornbeam. Let's talk about collected trees or yamadori, as few of you asked what is the best way to handle collected materials when they collected from the mountains or from your garden. This tree was collected this year, early spring, which is the ideal time to dig up trees. Trees have stored energy from the previous season, which they began to use as they came out of dormancy. This energy is vital for producing new roots and leaves, making spring the ideal time to transplant or collect yamadori, as the tree can quickly respond to any damage or stress. So the first thing when I dig up trees is to make sure that I keep as much feeder roots as I can. They are thin, fine roots that grow closer to the soil surface and are highly responsible for the uptake of water and nutrition. After the collection, I make sure that they are planted as soon as possible. Here we use a slightly more loamy soil mixed with perlite, as this is the soil which trees are coming from. Also use a slightly bigger pot as the final bonsai pot will be, so we will have room for the roots to grow and the tree can recover from this operation much quicker. As I mentioned, this tree was collected early this spring and then potted up. Basically, this is what I do to trees coming out from the ground. Pot them up and leave them alone. That means I did not prune, did not fertilize, just watered, kept it under shade netting and let it grow wild. This way you can make sure that you leave time for the tree to recover. Sometimes I even leave them for 2 whole years before I would work on them. Trust me, really good exercise for your patience. But in this case, the tree was growing very healthy, so I decided to give it the first styling. Fortunately, I did not need to do much, as Mother Nature did an amazing job on this tree already. As you can see, the branches are very flexible during this time. Another good reason to do this job now. If you see closer, this type of hornbeam has very tight internodes, means that the distance between 2 buds are very close to each other. Makes it a perfect tree for bonsai. Also, I'm very careful with the wiring not to damage any of the buds, which they are already set for next year. Please let me mention the tools I'm using. Wazakura Japan specializes in traditional Japanese bonsai tools, crafted with precision and rooted in centuries-old craftsmanship. Each piece reflects Japan's rich bonsai culture, offering both functionality and heritage in every cut and detail. If you would like to purchase some of their tools for yourself, I will leave my affiliate link below, which will grant you a one-time 10% off discount. I give you my word that you will have an amazing experience using these tools. As I have mentioned before, some of the collected trees I will leave for 2 years without any work on them. With this tree, that's the exact case. It is still a bit wobbly in the pot, which indicates that it did not put on massive amount of roots this year. So I will leave it for another year to get it strong and very healthy. With all of that, thank you so much for watching. You are all incredible. I celebrate the first year of my channel on YouTube with this video, and all of you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, kindness and love. It's worth it every single minute of hard work when you have this wonderful audience. Cannot say enough how much appreciate all of you here, dear wanderers. Until next time.